It is on. President Trump has vowed to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The Democrats have vowed to do everything that they can to stop him. They're even making threats that I've never heard of in my life. I only know of one president to commit to some of these threats. This is crazy. We are in a cultural civil war. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance.
As you know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away on September 18th. She was 87 years old. Let's just start with her passing. There's an old phrase, don't speak ill of the dead. So if that was completely true, we wouldn't speak ill of Judas or of Stalin. Are you following me? So in some ways, that's probably more apt to be used with family or friends, people that you were close with. But when you have a public figure, somebody with enormous political, legal authority, and they have been a treacherous villain, then we have a duty to rightly assess that person, their history, what they have done, what they have failed to do, how their impact stays with us and with millions of other people. There are people who rule the world from their grave, and it is our duty. These are malefactors ruling the world from their grave. We have a duty to speak against them. I got to tell you a quick story before we talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because it's of interest to you. Years ago, Deng Xiaoping, the godless, demonic leader of China, died. He was the one who instituted the one-child policy for Chinese, which led to forced child killing, forced abortion, and has resulted in the death of hundreds of millions of Chinese babies. We probably will never know in this lifetime the true death toll that has happened in communist China because of Deng Xiaoping. When he died, President Bush the elder started talking about what a great person he was. He was out of office by then. Bill Clinton talking about what a great leader he was for the Chinese. And I said, you have to be kidding me. This man was a mass murderer. He killed way more people with his orders than Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin combined. So I pretended that we had a remote microphone in hell. And Deng Xiaoping had just been taken down. And he was saying hi to his friends on his way down, Hitler, Stalin. And then I said, let's go to his cell right now. And I let out this blood-curdling scream. Ah! As long as I could keep air in my lungs, I just kept screaming. And I got canceled on 5 radio stations like that. The bot radio network just said, boom, you're off the air. Just for doing that. This is the level of fear and trepidation that exists in Christian media and a level of false politeness that exists in the media. So George Bush the Younger sent out a tweet or a Facebook or a press release about how great Ruth Bader Ginsburg was. And I'm thinking, you have to be kidding me. This is a woman who said that when Roe versus Wade happened, in the New York Times she said this, that they were hoping that it was going to have a great impact on the reduction of crime because it was going to kill babies. Roe versus Wade would lead to the death of babies that were coming from statistically poor areas where statistically there was more crime. So their idea was kill the criminals early, kill them often. That's what she believed. Now, it didn't work out that way. But what she said was so heinous and so racist, and yet she got a pass. And she has been fighting to preserve, she's been a scoundrel, fighting to preserve the bloodshed that happens in America's abortion mills. She has been a self-proclaimed enemy of truth, but she had a smile. Oh, look at that smile. Isn't that engaging? Look at her. Who wouldn't want her as a mom or a grandma? Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Which only goes to show you that people who are intensely corrupt can smile. I bet you Jezebel had a winning smile. But I digress. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is dead, and she will face or has faced Almighty God with the blood of millions of children on her hands. Pray God have mercy on her soul. Pray God have mercy on her soul. But if she is remembered in history, when history is written, 20, 50, 100 years from now, and child killing is illegal again, she will be remembered like the judges who voted to allow slavery, the Dred Scott decision, where American Supreme Court judges said it was the right of a white man to own a black man. That's how she'll be remembered. And it won't be all cuddly and cooey. It will be that she was an enemy of life and the laws of God. I'll be right back. It's kind of hard to overstate the titanic political battle that now faces President Trump and those of us who are his supporters. He has promised to appoint a replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg this week, and he has said that that appointment will be a woman. Now, it's a very short list of women that were vetted by the Heritage Foundation. This, of course, means that the rumors that it might be Ted Cruz or Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas, that's off the table. So, Amy Coney Barrett, all eyes are on her. She currently serves on the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. She is a former law professor at Notre Dame University. She is a Catholic. She is allegedly devout. She has 6 children. So let's talk about her for a minute. If President Trump has said, the job is yours if you want it, she might be saying, I don't know if I want it. We saw what happened to Brett Kavanaugh. And make no bones about it, the women who are on the Judiciary Committee, Dianne Feinstein, for example, they will be merciless to her. And if she has any skeleton in the closet, it's going to come out. And she could just be lied about. I think Brett Kavanaugh was lied about several times. Just flat out lies, flat out made up stories. So she has to ask herself and her husband, do we want this? Do we want the chance to be on the Supreme Court enough to put our family through hell? And it's not just a hell of 45 or 65 days of the confirmation process. It's a hell that will live on because of the computer. Because false accusations made and then stuck in cyberspace are with someone presumably until the end of the cyber age. I would say the end of time, but it could be that somehow we'll go back to the Stone Age. I don't know. So does she want that? She certainly doesn't need it. Is she willing to go through that? Because that's the toll right now. That's the price to get on the Supreme Court, with the Democrats opposing. I don't think the Republicans would do it. There were a lot of allegations out there about Sotomayor and about Kagan. Kagan was in CBS that she was a lesbian at CBS Boston, and then they took the story down. They suppressed it, and it never came up again during her entire confirmation hearing, because the Republicans tend to be a little bit more gracious to embrace and go by normal modes of decorum. Not the Democrats. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be partisan in this, but we've seen what Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and some of these godless enemies of freedom and enemies of life can and will do. So, does she want that? And I'm not convinced she would vote to overturn Roe versus Wade. This has me very concerned. There was a back and forth with her and Dianne Feinstein a few years ago, and Feinstein said something about, you know, your I don't know if it was your personality, your decisions run thick with dogma, and Amy Barrett, and I couldn't find the transcript, but said that her religious beliefs would not influence her decisions on the court. To which I would say, goodbye, next. If you don't believe in the law of God, and you can't say, well, as a philosophical underpinning, I believe in moral absolutes, I believe in the Ten Commandments. If you can't say that and you're willing to dodge that or even suppress it and deny it or abandon it, then you're not fit to be on the court. We are not lawmakers, people. Anybody who is on the Supreme Court who doesn't believe in higher law and eternal moral absolutes is a pretender to the throne of God. That's all they are, is pretenders to the throne of God. We are not lawmakers. There is one lawmaker, and he is the Almighty. All we can do is confirm or deny, embrace or betray his commands. We can't make commands. We can make tyrannical decrees, but they're not law. They masquerade as law, but they're not law. So, will President Trump pick her? I guarantee you that the phone call has already been made. And if it's not her, then what conservative woman would it be? And please, God, don't let President Trump get in a situation where he cornered himself and he's got to pick a woman, you know, like his sister or something, who's a left-winger, because then he's done. I mean, to me, this is President Trump's greatest opportunity. It's his greatest challenge. But this is a moment for him, especially if he loses the election, for them to talk about the Trump court for decades to come. But then the issue is, will the Trump court have the integrity and the courage to overturn Roe versus Wade and Obergefell, the two decisions that are an absolute affront to Almighty God? One of them giving license to murder babies, and the other giving license to have sacred marriage, God forgive us, marriage between a man, or a woman and a woman. This is an absurdity that has never been done even by pagan nations of antiquity. It's a moral outrage. So maybe Trump gets a woman in, maybe Trump loses the election, maybe we talk about the Trump court, but maybe it's a story of betrayal. Just like President Bush, who picked David Souter, or President Reagan, who picked the treacherous Catholic Anthony Kennedy. I'll be right back. Welcome back, friend. Nancy Pelosi said that she's got arrows in her quiver. Not at liberty to talk about them. But they're floating two ideas right now. One would be to impeach Attorney General Barr, or to impeach President Trump again. Why? Just to bog down the administration. So President Trump is going to appoint somebody this week, and then the hearings begin. Now, there's only 44 days to the election, so it would be hard to get a vote before the election. You've got the senator from Alaska, the Republican senator, saying she refuses to vote. She will vote no, not only up until the election, but up until inauguration, if a Democrat wins. Then you have the senator from Maine. We don't know what she's going to do. She's in a battle right now for her political life. The Republicans can only afford to lose 3. That's it. If they lose 3, Mike Pence, it would be a 50-50 tie, and then Mike Pence would be the tie-breaking vote. So what's going to happen between now and the election? I don't know. But Nancy Pelosi is saying, well, we could start an impeachment proceeding against the Attorney General or against President Trump just to muddy the water and bog things down. The other thing they're talking about is something that President Franklin D. Roosevelt tried to do, and that is a phrase that has become odious, wretched, to pack the court. So the Supreme Court has 9 people on it, and it's simply by a congressional rule. At one point, there were 7 members of the court. Another point, there were 5. It got as low as 5. It got as big as 10. And then for the past few decades, since close to the 1900s, it just settled on 9 Supreme Court judges. Franklin Delano Roosevelt passed through both houses of Congress and signed into law a lot of his big government programs. And the judges at that time said, no, these are not constitutional, these are unconstitutional. Roosevelt was enraged and tried to get a law passed to change the number of people on the court. He said, fine, 9 members, that's not in the Constitution, let's have 15. Let's add 6 members to the Supreme Court. Let's pack the court with judicial appointments that I put in that are going to uphold the laws that we are passing. Now, his effort to do that failed. It did rattle the court, and the court got in line, and when those bills were reintroduced, repassed, suddenly the Supreme Court let them stand. That digression set aside, the Democrats are openly talking right now, fine, if Trump gets her on and we don't like her, we'll change the rule and we'll just add 4 members or 2 or 6, keep it an odd number, to the Supreme Court because it's been done before and we'll do it again. Now, what that says to us is that they are determined to be our masters, our rulers. Listen, the Supreme Court is an unelected oligarchy. Our system of government is so upside down right now because of a Supreme Court that is out of control. Out of control. And the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate and the presidency have not had the moral courage and the political will to say no. Period. To just, no, we now are in a situation where lifetime appointments, people outside of the reach of the voting electorate, rule over us. We never voted on child killing. We never voted on forced busing. We never voted on the so-called homosexual marriage. We never voted on pornography being a legal right. If you look at the most disturbing, upending, unholy, unrighteous, illegitimate, evil things that have come upon this country, they did not come through the elective process. They came by judicial decree from black-robed tyrants. And our elected officials let this godlessness stand. So the Democrats know that they cannot get their agenda through and over us by the elective process. It's always been about the courts for them. That's their hatred of Trump from the beginning. It's always been about the federal judiciary. And now they're saying if Trump prevails and gets a judge to fill Ruth Bader Ginsburg's spot, they'll pack the court. They will rule over us. That is their desire. And they don't give a damn about me and about you and about the laws of God. What are we going to do? We're going to resist? I'll be right back. What's at stake is the soul of our nation. Joe Biden gets that right. What he doesn't seem to grasp is that he wants to take the soul of our nation into hell, a bloody hell, where babies are killed up until the day of birth, and we're forced to pay for it. Is that what you want? All the other things are important. Nothing rises to that level. Immigration, all of it. It's all important. Nothing rises to that level. We are going to Delaware October 1st through 4th. 3 days of rallies, and then to Biden's home, to his bunker, to peacefully protest. And then on day 4, Sunday, October 4th, we're going to Biden's church. I am inviting you to join us. Go to my website, randallterry.com. Keep going back there. The details will come up. We have a hotel, the Westin Hotel, that you can stay at. There's other hotels there that you can stay at. We will be meeting every morning at 11 o'clock at a pavilion in a park close to Biden's home. And then we will be going from that park to Biden's bunker. All right? We must resist. We must protest. We must create an uprising amongst Christians of all denominations to say no to their godless agenda. And if we lose this election, it is our fault. It is the fault of Catholic bishops. It is the fault of evangelical superstars who have been silent. Go to my website, randallterry.com. Watch the videos. Donate. Help us with the expenses of this, please. If you believe in what we're doing, go to randallterry.com.